Today I'm here with Trish.
Hi.
Who I met at a women's circle 2 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And then, last year we reconnected when I came back to England. You came to one of my circles. And then this year we've actually just been brought together in so many ways.
We've seen each other loads.
I know. And you were already saying the other day, I felt like we were meant to meet.
Oh my God, 100%. 100% I felt that. It was like when I first saw you, so we was in women's circle, weren't we? And I was like, left, and I was like, I just really like her. And that's why I DM'd you. I was like, I just really liked your vibe.
And this, I'm always sharing this. So many women say to me, it's hard to make friends as an adult. It doesn't have to be. And when you're doing the things that light you up and going to the things that you felt called to do, then that's where you meet your people. Like, we met each other at a women's circle. Like, we're obviously on similar journeys. I'm literally sitting in Trish's, what do you call this? Like,
Therapy room?
Therapy room.
Counselling room, I don't know.
Counselling room right now, which is so nice. And like, this is the second time we've seen each other this week. We went to the business event together on Friday. And yeah, you've come to my retreat this year and my community event.
And the one on Friday wasn't actually planned to go together either.
No. The universe has a funny way of bringing people together. And it's just been so lovely to connect more. I've just been walking around in my underwear in her house, like trying on all of these clothes that she's getting rid of.
I was like, free baby clothes. Who's going to want me? This egg is fine.
Love it. But I'd love to chat to you about, how did you get onto your spiritual journey and your career in counselling?
Okay, so where do I start?
Wherever you want it.
So ever since I was like a little girl, I've always been really like spiritual and stuff. And when I was like, I'd say about 17, 18, was when things would really start happening to me. I've always been a visual person anyway. I can really like see things in my mind. But like, I'd have really weird dreams, things would happen, and then I'd say it to someone, and then it would like all be connected. I actually done a reading on someone once, spontaneously.
Yeah.
As well.
This is all new information to me, that you're like a psychic. I'm not surprised.
I wouldn't go that far. But
I mean, we're all really intuitive and have these psychic powers, but we don't all have access to them, and it's normally out of safety, or we fear it and then we block it.
100%. And that's kind of what I did. So all this stuff was happening, and then it got to the point where it was like, obviously I'm still young, like you think you're really old at 18, but you're not. And I was like, this is too scary. I didn't really know what was happening, and I completely like shut it off. And then nothing happened for years, other than I'd get little things like, I remember I parked my car where I always parked my car at my ex-boyfriend's house, but this one day I parked my car and I was like, don't leave your car there because it's going to be keyed in the morning. And I ignored it. I woke up the next morning and my car was keyed. So like little things like that happened. And then I become a mum. And when I become a mum, I really lost myself. This time not having any more kids. The hormones that I experienced, honestly, like, were the most awful things. I didn't even recognise myself. Like, the rage that I had was, I've always been, as you know, a bit of a rageful person. But this was like rage I've never experienced in my life. Like, I just didn't know who I was. And then I come across on Instagram like these sisterhood circles, and I was like, you know, like when you just know. I just knew I had to go to it. And then I think the one that I met you at was actually my first ever one.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, it was. Actually, yeah, it was. So that was my first ever one, and it was like everything made sense. And then I've really opened up my spirituality now, and I just have found like who I am. And it's like, I feel like it was always there, but I wasn't like, I feel like my mind wasn't like mature enough to like fully understand it all and understand like the universe and how we're all connected. And yeah, so I've just like completely gone with everything, and now I just feel like completely and wholly me.
Oh, I love it. And I think we're not taught how to get to know ourselves. No. We're taught to like follow the crowd and do what other people do, and listen to authority. And I feel like it's like a rebellious act to actually just get to know yourself. and live life authentically you, that's when we're going to be the happiest. That's when we're going to be living our purpose and creating a ripple effect in the world. And I think these women's spaces are so magic for doing that. It's a space where you can switch off from the normal world and have these deeper conversations, or more insightful prompts to help you get to know yourself even better, and then hearing from other people as well.
And I think as well, the main thing for me is like my whole life, I've always felt like really alone. I've had so many friends, like growing up, I was like in the popular crowd. And I say that with like, what these quotations, because like there's no such thing as popular. But as a teenager,
I was popular.
I was popular. So I was in like that crowd. I had loads of friends, but I always felt very alone. And I think I felt very alone because none of my friends would really like me. And it's not until actually going to these sisterhood circles and meeting people who think the same, and I'm like, wow, like I'm not fucking mad.
Yeah, so true. It is. I think, you're at school and there's all these different types of people, but as we get older and we go into these different spaces, you find the people that are like you, like the witchy sisters, basically.
Love it.
And I think it can feel like lonely and isolating when we don't feel like anyone's like us, and no one's got the same interests, and we don't want to like tell anyone about it because they might think we're weird, especially when we're younger and we care so much more about what other people think.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about when you came to my retreat this year.
Okay.
And we did a visualization.
Yes.
And you visualized this cave. Maybe you tell the story.
So you done this, like it was like inner child, wasn't it? And in my counselling, I love inner child. And the meditation that you did is similar to what I do with clients. It wasn't exactly the same because obviously everyone like changes it to their own thing. It's very similar. And it was so powerful for me to actually like be held in that moment rather than holding people. And so you said about finding your safe space. So I envisioned, and like I said, I'm really visual, so it's like almost like I was there. I envisioned like this cave on the beach, and then like you said about viewing the younger version of you. And it was so powerful. And then a few weeks later, I went to Tenby in Wales, which is where because I'm part Welsh, so with every year since I was like a baby, me and my family have always gone there. So I knew that that place is a special place for me, but I didn't like put the two and two together. So the other week when we was there and I was walking on the beach, I was like, that's the fucking cave. Like the cave that I literally envisioned was in front of me, and I actually drew it, didn't I?
You did.
After. And it's like you can see, like from, even though my drawing's not the greatest, but you can see from the drawing and then the picture that I took of me in front of the cave, like how it's actually so similar. And I just think like that just shows like how powerful your subconscious mind is.
So powerful. And I honestly think it's like magic happens. That's what I always feel like. Magic is always happening. The more connected we are to ourselves and the more we like, prioritize our connection, which I just love so much. And I remember you shared last year at one of the women's circles, you were like, this is like my therapy.
100%.
And I think this is what we need, because there's so many of us that are like space holders and we're always giving to other people. And it's magic, but like actually to receive that is so nice too. And like that's what I did this weekend. I went to an intuitive art workshop that my friend was doing. We did meditation and art, and I was like, oh, this is so nice. And I think we need to remember to give ourselves the things that we give other people, and to receive in the ways that we need to receive.
Definitely, because otherwise it's like, how can you be the best version of you for your client if you're not giving yourself the same space?
And for like your family and friends as well. Like we're going to be the best version of ourselves, and we've got the most to give when we are looking after ourselves, and the ripple effect does go far and wide. I'd love to hear how you got into your counselling.
Okay. So I was a bit of a nightmare teenager, and due to lots of outside things that was about, some stuff went on basically. And back then, counselling was like a thing, but it was only for like the children who, let's say, really, really needed it. And it wasn't as like spoken about. So because what I feel like is if I had that as a teenager, I definitely wouldn't have like struggled as an adult. So yeah, so lots of stuff was going on like at that time, and I felt like I wasn't really heard by adults. Everyone just saw my like bad behaviour. No one really saw like what was going on underneath. No one asked me like, why are you behaving this way? It was always just like, she's just a dickhead, basically. Obviously, they didn't call me dickheads, but you get it.
She's playing up.
Yeah. So then left school. Still didn't really talk to anyone about what's going on, but I was trying to like on my own journey figure out why I'm like behaving like this, and I was like, I did really well figuring it out, but then I become a teaching assistant. So now we're talking at like 20, 21, I think. So I'm a teaching assistant in a primary school. And have you ever worked in school?
No.
So those of you that have worked in school, you will know that there's this like judgment persona that you have to like have all your shit together, and you need to be like very friendly and like perfect. Basically.
And not act as yourself.
Yeah. So it's like keeping up appearances basically all the time. So like if I would struggle with things, I'd feel like, oh, I can't do this because I'm working at school. This would ruin my job. Anyway, one day, I can't even remember what it was, but I got really triggered that day, and I had like this really big like, breakdown at the school. And then all the kids, I worked in a reception, all the kids started coming in. So I'd like locked myself in the cupboard waiting for the kids. I was like, I need to go home. And I was like, okay, but the head teacher wants to see you. And he was like, if you need to go home, you can go home because you're clearly really upset, but I'm not letting you go like until you tell me what's going on. And so we had like an open chat about it, and he was like, I think you should go counselling. And I was like, I can't go counselling because I work here. And he was like, what do you mean? He's like, of course you can go counselling.
It's like a limiting belief in your mind. You're like, I'm doing this, so I can't do this. Because beliefs, we think they're like facts in our head, but we don't know. We're not aware that they're just a belief.
Yeah. So because I suppose someone like the head
authority
of the school, is like saying to me that I could go, and he basically sorted it out for me. I could not tell you the name of my counsellor. I couldn't tell you where it was because it was just such a blur. But I used to run the after school club, so I was there till 6 every night. He was like, take this night off a week, you're going to go and do this. And then I obviously started telling my counsellor about everything. And it just fucking changed my life.
Yeah.
It was like, why for all these years have I like not felt safe to like talk to anybody because of what people think of me?
And held it all in.
Yeah. And it was just completely and utterly like changed everything. And yeah, so then from then I was like, I need to do this.
The same with me with like, I hired myself a life coach, and then I was like, I can do this. I was like, this is for me. And it's funny how the universe puts you in these situations. And I don't necessarily think that we're like supposed to have like, bad things happen to us or trauma or whatnot, but like often the more negative things or the challenges we've had in our life do lead us to where we're supposed to be, or be able to support other people in those areas as well.
Definitely, because I feel like you learn from your
experience.
You learn from it, and then you're like, right, okay. And then you see like resemblances in other people, don't you? And you're like, right, okay. And it makes you more empathetic and understanding, I think, especially in like in a life coach and a counsellor and stuff, you need to be empathetic.
So do you just train from there?
So yeah, so then I started training in COVID, and then I fell pregnant. So I had to then stop because when I'd done most of my course, then I had to stop. Then I had like a year off, gave birth to my son, and then I was like, I need to finish this. So then I went back, and it was really difficult because I was like juggling being a mom. I was back at work 3 days a week, and it was like every week you have to do it of an evening from 7 till 10 at night. And it had all the coursework and everything. And
how long is it?
It's like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then you have to do 100 hours of counselling. So I had to do 100 hours of counselling real life people for free.
Yeah.
In the time of being a mum and working and juggling all that. So it was really difficult. And there were times where I was like, I could just easily give up on this. But I was like, no, this is what I want to do. And then I qualified.
Love it. And that's the thing, is you make it work.
Yeah.
Don't you? Like, you have to make it work. And I'm assuming like you probably had to ask for support.
Oh my God, massively. My mum and my dad, like, I had to have my son like when I went to work, because I've worked in nurseries and stuff, and I just their own, and everyone has their own reasonings why they need to go to nursery, and I get that. But for me personally, like, because I've got my mum and dad who luckily enough are here to support me, I was like, I just think it's better like for him to be with his grandparents rather than go to nursery. So yeah, they massively supported me with that. And then obviously my husband would always have to, because he would work nights sometimes, that he would have to make sure that he wasn't working nights on the nights that I was at college. So yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do it without everyone around me.
We need support, and I think this is something that people forget, and they're like, oh, I have to do everything all on my own. And like, yeah, there's obviously some steps that only you can take, but we can actually make it easier for ourselves by asking other people for help. And people are happy to help. They want to. And I think we give when we can give, and we receive when we need to receive, and we don't always have to like give and receive to the same person, which I think stops a lot of people. They think they feel guilty for like, oh, this person's done this for me. And it's like, yeah, they wanted to.
That's so true as well. Because if you think about like with our jobs and stuff that we do,
yeah,
I know obviously we earn a living from it, but I think you can agree, like, you do this job because you actually want to do it. And
yes.
Like when you're,
if I was doing it for the money, I would not be doing it. Not right now. I'm sure the money will be better in the future, but at the moment I'm doing it for pure love.
But it's like that, isn't it? It's like you're helping people.
Yeah.
And it's because you want to. And I look back at like what you just said there, actually, it's just like popped into my head. Like when you give to receive. So you feel like you have to do that. I once was that. So, you know, I said about the head teacher that said, oh, like sort out the counselling. That evening, I decided not to go home. So I stayed at school. He come into because it was near Christmas time, and he come into the after school club, and he, you know, like those chocolate Lynn reindeers.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think you need this more than me today. And he gave it to me. And then every Christmas I bought him a Lynn reindeer. Yes, obviously I wanted to, but I feel like it was because I felt like he massively helped me. I felt like I had to give him something, but actually he done it because he wanted to.
Yeah. And I think it's still okay to want to give something back to, like a little gesture. And I think it doesn't always have to be the same thing that people give, you know, like sometimes actually just sending someone a really nice message can be like enough, you know, or like small gestures can mean a lot to people. Whereas I think I always use it's a really basic example, but like someone buys you a coffee and then you're like, oh, I must buy them a coffee next time. And it's like, yeah, you could, but like you don't have to.
No. And I agree with you. For me, I love cards. So you know, people are like, oh, I feel like I have to get you a present because it's your birthday. Actually, if you got me a card and you wrote in it all the things that you love about me, that would mean so much more to me than
any present.
Yeah, because it's like you're actually being vulnerable with me and, you know, connecting with me. And we don't always tell each other the things that we love about each other all the time.
No, it's what you value. You'll love this. I live in New Zealand majority of the time, so like I don't normally buy anyone Christmas presents in England, and it's just always been that way. We just don't do presents. I went one year sending cards to everyone, and I wrote a card to like pretty much all of my really close friends, just like telling them all the reasons that I love them, and that was it. And I sent them in the post, but like the amount of like love and response I got back to that, because people love it, you know. And I was like, also this is how I love to give, is like by like showing people how much I love them. And I don't like, I'm not necessarily a gift giver either, you know, like I'm not great at giving gifts. I'd be like forcing it if I was doing it.
And like for you, like that obviously feels right for you, and that is also linked to, isn't it, like being authentically yourself. Like you're not giving into the like fear of society, like you have to give presents because it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you're going to be authentically you and show love in a different way.
It's also saved me so much money not buying Christmas presents.
I was literally thinking that. I need to start doing that, to be honest.
Yeah, like I do in New Zealand. Sometimes we do little like Secret Santas and stuff like that. But I think last year was the first year I didn't buy any present at all. But I'm actually so okay with living an unconventional life, and I know it's what works for me.
And you know what I think, like, if you think about your childhood,
yeah,
and you think back to Christmases, let's say, do you actually remember any of your presents?
a few of them, but you remember how you feel.
Yeah.
And the times that you had and the laughs and the food.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely the food. Like for me, like the main thing about Christmas is all my family together round the table having fun playing games.
Yeah.
If I didn't get any presents, I wouldn't give shit.
No, not at all. And it is living life by the things that you value. And I think knowing what you value is so important so that you're creating success and living life on your terms rather than just like living life for everyone else, because you're not going to be happy if you did that. Have you got any final things that you'd love to share before we finish up?
Yes. So I think if we're talking about like the therapy side of things, I think one, I hope this is like opened it up to people to, because we are getting better at saying that we can talk to people and go to therapy and or have a coach or whatever it is. You know, we are getting more comfortable in talking about mental health. But what I really advocate for is like your therapist hasn't got all their shit together all the time. Like
we're all human.
Yeah. And I think when you go to therapy, it can be like really scary. And you think, oh, like they're just like gonna know everything. But my like main thing is like, I'm a normal human being. I've been through some fucking shit in my time, and I don't have my shit together all the time. Like
me neither.
But it's about learning the tools and the techniques to support you. So when you go through those things, you can bring yourself out of that like quicker.
Yeah.
Rather than being just like stuck like in such a deep dark place. And I also feel like there's this big stigma around therapy, like it's just talking. And we had a conversation about this on Friday, didn't we? Like there are some therapists out there who believe, which is absolutely fine, but who believe that like just talking works. And for some people, like for me, like when I first went counselling, that's literally all I did at that time was just talking, and that massively helped me. However, going forward in on my journey to get me to where I am now, I had to do a lot of other things than just talking. So like I really believe that yes, we need to talk. Yes, we need to look at your childhood, because a lot of things come from the childhood, but it's like we can't change what's happened in the past. And the more that we continue to just talk about the past, the more that you are going to just live in the past. So I really believe that it's like looking at what happened to you when you was younger and how that's affecting you in your present, like day to day now, making those links and those connections so we have the understanding. And then once you have the understanding, it's like, right, okay, now let's get the tools. And this is where I love like all the somatic stuff and like the meditations. And I believe it doesn't work with every client, but because obviously I can change, just because I'm saying this, if you was a client and you just wanted to talk, I would just talk. But this is just what I prefer to do, like, and having those goal settings will then give you that place where you want to get to, and it's focusing on the future rather than focusing on
and it's definitely, it's like having a holistic approach to it, looking at mindset, body, energy, actions, because everything does make a difference.
And the other thing that I think is really important is understanding about the mind. We spoke about this,
mind
and the body connection, because we are an animal, but our mind is so advanced that that's what makes us different to any other animal species. So it's like our body acts in animal instincts like flight, fight or freeze, or anxiety. really, anxiety is, if you was a wild animal, it would tell you that this is a dangerous situation because you don't have the brain to communicate that properly. So, but because our mind is so much more powerful and it tricks us. Where I work with kids as well, a lot of them hate exams, right? So their mind, they've gone into the exam room, they're like, this is scary. So it's because their mind has told them that it's scary, the body then connects it with the animal instinct. So every time they go into that exam room, the body is filled with anxiety, and that's the animal instinct, like, I've got to go. And then that's when the panic attacks and all that stuff comes. So it's like retraining your brain to connect with your body, to say to your body, I'm thankful that you're there.
Thanks for trying to keep me safe, but I am safe. Yeah, so powerful. And I think what you shared earlier around like being able to adapt to each person, and that's the power of like having like a whole person approach. And when you see like you know, a counsellor, depending on who it is, or like a coach, like we're making it work for you, and like what would benefit you the most, because no two person is the same.
No.
And yeah, it's the magic of it. If people wanted to work with you and come and see you, how do they do that?
They can find me on my Instagram, which is Your Essex Counsellor, or if you go on the counselling directory, which is a website where you can find loads of counsellors. Yeah, my name is on there. It has my phone number on it, but like on Instagram, you can just send me a DM, or you can email me, youressexcounsellor@outlook.com.
Perfect. I'll put Trish's details in the link below as well in the caption, so you can find her easy too. But the last thing I wanted to share is about speaking up and like asking for what you want, or taking the step even when it feels scary. Because like the reason me and Trish are connected is because firstly you sent me a message on Instagram after we first met, and if you didn't, maybe we wouldn't have stayed connected as much. And then also Trish messaged me a few weeks ago saying, I want to start a podcast, but I want to go on someone else's podcast first, and I want to go on yours. Like, will you have me? And I was like, yes, I would love that. And again, if you don't ask, you don't get, and then no one would be listening to this episode.
Exactly.
So if you've got a niggle and you're wanting to do something, just put the message out there or take the action. Honestly, what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. The worst that could happen was you could have said no. And that's that.
And you would have still been proud of yourself for asking.
Exactly. And I was still nervous, but I was like, I have to do it, because I told you, didn't I, that there was like synchronicities. So like my plan originally was this time this year was to have my own podcast, but I was like just a bit scared and whatever. And then someone at work said to me, like, oh, have you started your podcast? Because they knew that that was my plan. And I was like, oh no, I don't really think I'm going to do it. Then I come home the next day and I had some guy who I have no idea who he is, but like, me like, I want you to come on my podcast. And I was like, oh, I just like didn't feel his vibe. And I was like, maybe I should go on a podcast to see. And then I was like, I feel comfortable with Effie. Then I went on Instagram, clicked on your story, and it was like, just recorded a podcast. I was like, right, okay, I have to.
Exactly. Listen to those nudges and take the action, because you never know where it's going to go. And I'm always talking about small steps too. Like, what is the smallest step? You want to start your podcast, but going on someone else's, like, that is a step in the right direction. And then you know the setup, the other stuff, feel comfortable. And then the next step is, I mean, I know you're going to have your own podcast. It's not going to be that long until it happens. I'll be messaging her soon saying, have you set up your podcast? When can I be a guest?
I hope so.
Amazing. Well, yes. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, and see you next week. Mwah!